Now look, I want to address something that I have seen a decent enough number of people saying. This needs to be addressed seriously. I'm seeing this argument being made mainly from Indians and from some Western influencers who are incredibly woefully uninformed on this topic. Let's talk about this allegation. Let's look at this allegation seriously. The allegation is that some people are making is that both sides are to blame. Both sides are creating hostilities. Both sides need to calm down. This monkey balancing and this game of both sides needs to be put to bed. Because let's start with history. India, it's not a both sides problem. Let's be very, very, very clear about this. India didn't ask for the partition. India didn't carry out pogroms across the country in order to dismember an ancient nation on the basis of religion. India's ideology is not based on the two-nation theory, the belief that the Hindus and Muslims are two completely different civilizations and two completely different people and simply cannot coexist with each other. This is Pakistan's ideology as highlighted by the founder of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and very recently by the most powerful man in Pakistan, the Pakistani Army General Asim Munir. Once the partition happened, India didn't attack Pakistan. It was the Pakistanis that immediately attacked India after partition in order to capture more Indian land. It was Pakistan that attacked India in 1965. It was Pakistan that was carrying out a literal genocide in 1971, which India had to step in and stop. It was Pakistan that initiated the invasion of Kargil, which led to the Kargil War. It was Pakistan that orchestrated the ethnic cleansing of the Kashmiri Hindus from Jammu and Kashmir. It was Pakistan that orchestrated the Mumbai bombings of 1993 and is currently sheltering the mastermind of those bombings, Dawood Ibrahim. It was Pakistan that orchestrated the attack on India's parliament in 2001. It was Pakistan that planned and orchestrated the 2008 terror attacks in Mumbai. The mastermind of these attacks, Hafiz Saeed, is a highly respected religious leader in Pakistan as well as a politician and lives a quite comfortable life in the country under the protection of the Pakistani army. It was Pakistan that planned and orchestrated the Uri attacks that killed multiple Indian security personnel. It was Pakistan that planned and orchestrated the Pathankot attack that killed multiple Indian security personnel. It was Pakistan that planned and orchestrated the Pulwama attack that killed 40 Indian soldiers. It was Pakistan that planned and orchestrated the recent Pahalgam attack where Hindu tourists were singled out, identified and murdered. There are no examples of India carrying out terror attacks in Pakistan specifically aimed at murdering civilians. Even the current retaliation on the 9 terrorist sites by India were meticulously and painstakingly planned to avoid any civilian casualties. And how did Pakistan respond? By immediately targeting civilian areas. In response to the strikes, the Pakistanis immediately targeted middle schools and gurdwaras, in which 5 children were killed. There are no videos of Indian army generals and prime ministers making statements to their entire country saying that Hindus and Muslims are completely separate civilizations and simply cannot coexist with each other, and that it is their sacred religious duty to destroy the Muslims. You cannot say both sides are to blame after seriously studying the history of India and Pakistan. It is abundantly clear that India for decades has been the victim of terrorism from Pakistan. And not just India. Afghanistan has long suffered under Pakistani-sponsored terrorism. The mastermind of the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden, lived for a decade under the watchful eye of the Pakistani army in a palatial house next to a massive Pakistani army base. The Iranians have faced multiple attacks from Pakistani-based terror groups. There was a big attack just last week in Iran. The Afghan government recently made an announcement that multiple leaders of ISIS Khorasan were being sheltered by the Pakistani government. Pakistan's harboring of terrorist organizations and sponsoring of terror is in no doubt. Not because India has said so. This has been recognized by the American government. Hell, leave all of that. This has been recognized by the current Pakistani administration. The current Pakistani foreign minister just recently said in a media interview that Pakistan has been sponsoring and training terrorists at the behest of Western governments.
But you do admit, sir, that Pakistan has had a long history of backing and supporting and training and funding these terrorist organizations.
We have been doing this dirty work for the United States for about 3 decades,
A prominent Pakistani politician, Bilawal Bhutto, who is the son of 2 former prime ministers of Pakistan, Benazir Bhutto and Asif Ali Zardari, also said in a media interview this week that Pakistan has had a problem with sheltering and sponsoring terrorists for many years.
As far as what the defense minister said, I don't think that It's a secret that Pakistan has a past as far as extremist groups are concerned.
You're not hearing this from an Indian source. You're hearing this right from the horse's mouth. So asking India to share equal blame with Pakistan for this is deeply disingenuous and spits in the face of the victims of Pakistani-sponsored terrorism, not just in India, but across the world. Because both siding this issue is like telling a woman after she has been assaulted, what were you wearing? Why were you out that late at night? Why were you out in that area? Why did you provoke him? Boys will be boys. They're just trying to have some fun. Maybe you should have gone along with it and had some fun with them. Why are you such a slut? I know this sounds crass, but this is exactly what some Indians and some sections of the media and influencer ecosystem are saying to Indian victims right now. They're asking victims of terrorism to share equal blame with the terrorists. So everyone in India and anyone looking at the India-Pakistan issue with good intentions needs to push back against this narrative. This narrative needs to be overturned and crushed. Anywhere, anytime that you come across this argument on social media, in the media, make it your personal responsibility to push back against it. Leave a comment. Make sure that whenever somebody makes this statement, there are a million comments underneath debunking this narrative, pushing back against this narrative, letting these people know that they cannot get away with this bullshit anymore. And to people making these statements, listen, if you're going to open your mouth and only shit like this comes out every time, maybe you should train your asshole to talk.